I don't know what it is, but Hirschfelden was just calling our name today, and when that happens, we just listen to it, we head out, and we see what we can find. So I got to thinking about it too. Fallow deer, wood grouse, a couple of those species we don't have 100 harvest of, plus potential for rare geese and other cool stuff out here. So we're gonna head out, and we're gonna see what we can stumble into. And so getting this hunt started with the smallest roe deer ever, 25 to 75, and by the way, the King of the Kill Classic competition running in my Discord this week is for the smallest roe deer, so you can join that Discord in the description below if you're also shooting tiny roe deer. And I think I must have called from out there, so he's gonna kind of just go stand there, I think. Should make life a little easier as far as getting the shot. Gonna stop right in there somewhere. And roe deer are a really odd species in that they're so small, max of 35 kilo. That jump and die thing was awesome, by the way, but you can double lung them, and they will run a little bit, so that's, I believe, what happened there, considering how far he went. And we'll go and take a look at the score of what is probably going to be the smallest roe deer we'll get for this entire hunt. So, like I said, I'm imagining double lung, and it was 21.6 meters, right and left lung, 49 score for him. And basically the plan for today is to kind of move down through here, try to get into like fallow territory a decent bit, and eventually, after hunting a decent part of the map, loop down around and from a distance, check our goose setup. There will be a bunch of geese landed at it, and hopefully, there's something good sitting there. And what the heck, if we're gonna shoot a small roe deer, might as well get a better one too. 130 to 180 for this guy, and literally it stopped raining, and it's gonna rain again. The wind typically picks up in the rain, so bow shots can be a little more risky, but we've done the same thing, where we called kind of out in front of us a bit. Arrows are useful. Is he gonna see us? We might get away with this. I thought we might have to go to the 6.5 there, but nah, somehow. Because I wouldn't think our field camo's effective here. Probably that same deal. I'm gonna think double lung and he'll run 15 meters and drop. Should be going down any second if that's the case. And maybe we're just behind the second lung. What did this end up being? Oh, that's intestines. Probably liver shot then. He'll still go down fairly quickly, but that'll take some tracking. So actually, not bad. He actually dropped in sight, and we can see it was just a bigger angle than it appeared to be. It was intestine, not even stomach or liver. 149 score for him, and I guess if you're gonna mess up a shot, roe deer's probably the animal to do it. Gonna work our way down basically to the end of this little peninsula, and then I think we'll fast travel down to this tent. So maybe a slight adjustment here. We've got our first group of fallow deer, but it's all does, and fallow deer are like reindeer. You can't call in the does. With the caller, it only calls in the bucks. And if it's a herd of bucks and does, everything will come in. So the fact that these does aren't responding also tells us there's not a buck hidden back there somewhere. So I want to use the 6.5 today. I really like this gun. Perfect opportunity since we want to fast travel. Just cool sound, unique scope, and something we don't use all that often. So one fallow deer down, and I think we only needed 13 or something to get to 100, so we'll be very close by the time this hunt's over if we can keep finding them. I'm also going to mention something real quick for those that don't know it. So at the top of our hunter mate, you see the trail where there's 2 red dots. As we pick up this third track, obviously it's going to be 3 red dots. And as far as the tracking skill you get for any species, the third red dot getting completed on all these trails, that's the part that gives you the most XP towards your tracking skill. So as I'm going around, since we don't have a great fallow tracking, I'm going to pick up all of these and get them all to 3 just to work on that and get our levels up. And with that done, best I can tell we got all of them up to the 3 red dots. We'll grab our first fallow of the hunt, a little chocolate doe. Fortunately, double lung with a gun, no problem on fallow deer. And we'll make a quick hop down to here. There we go, that's the sound I wanted to hear. So there is a fallow buck straight across there. And maybe one of these days, leveling up our tracking skill will help us to discover some kind of trophy fallow just by hitting the track. Right now, we can't tell nearly as much, but once we have that tracking skill, all that additional information, whether it's the weight, whether it's the gender, the age of the tracks, that stuff comes into play. And actually, a pretty nice fallow deer buck. Gonna be a 130 to 200. Looking at him, I think he's like 160-ish. And by the way, just to show it, there are other fallow deer coming in, including the does. If there's bucks in the herd and the bucks are coming in, the does just follow along like I was talking about earlier. So let's try to drop this, because we've got a chance at the others coming in. They didn't spook, so we can maybe get a couple of bucks here. Now this might be a risk, but I think if we can drop that fallow there, we could maybe get all 3 bucks at least. Now he's walking a little closer, actually giving us a bit of a quartering angle there, which I think we're going to take. That didn't end up as a drop shot. I've had that a lot with fallow deer, where what I think is going to be a perfectly fine shot is not. Worth a try, because I think if we let him get all the way into 20, it would have spooked the other ones anyway. But more importantly, our first quality fallow of the hunt. I'm terrible at judging these, so I have no idea. That was even long liver stomach. He's a 159, so we'll take that. Pretty solid one. And I don't love the angle here, but since he's in the water, well, there's a doe around here still. We're going to have to do something like that to kind of get the water to despawn for the photo. I think that looks a little better. They get up to like 190 some, so, you know, 160 ain't bad, but I'd love to get one somewhere at least in the 180s. Our best is just around 170, so that's close, but a little ways to go to get a PB. So I don't think this is the doe that called when we were in the trophy shot there. Pretty sure it's actually one that was with the bucks that we shot. She just happened to trot kind of right down towards us. Now, we don't need another gut shot. That's going to be a little better. And actually there was another that just called down there. And what I actually did was sit in the stand a while, rattle in case that doe was with some other bucks. And best I can tell, she wasn't. Because even still, she's in that area. And by then, I think she would have just come in if there were bucks around. So bonus kill, and by the way, that shot on our second fallow deer buck was a little bit back, so track's being a little frustrating to follow, but we'll figure it out. So finally, found this thing, it went back over its own tracks a couple of times. It was a little annoying to follow. Nice score, 69.21, and now we are kind of south of these fields, so we'll just start to move up that direction. Other areas that I expect to see fallow, like kind of further up here, so hopefully that's going to continue. Well, at this stage, we're just chasing the same herd of fallow over and over again. That's the other buck. He definitely knows we're here. I'd really like to get into 50, but if he's going to stay in broadside, I think we might just go for that. The other option is just go 6.5, but we are pretty far away from where we shot the other ones, and I'd really hate to just spook everything, so gotta be close now, I would think. That's 52. Just gonna creep forward a little bit. You can see they are calmed down. Yeah, I guess we could call him in. Now, he's still spooked. You can see him lifting his leg there. That shot found the mark. And it spooked the doe, but definitely a better result than spooking literally everything in that 300-meter-ish radius by firing a rifle. And also, in a roundabout way, we ended up getting all 3 bucks from that herd. This guy double lung at 51. 104 score for him, so he's the second best of those 3. And hopefully we can just keep on cruising up here. That brings us to, was that our 4th fallow? So I think 91 total fallow harvest. Not bad. That's a pretty big boar. 1,000 to 1,190. Now they get north of 1,200, so it's not a giant, but a pretty darn good one. And are we in calling range? The other thing is, those other 2 are standing there, and they're going to get here way earlier anyway. That's a long way for a 6.5 to, like, I'm sure we can hit it, but can we get into a lung? That I'm not so sure of, so let's try calling. He may hang in the area, only because there is an empty feeder over here. Even though it's empty, they'll still kind of hang around, so we're going to see, does that get him coming our direction at all? Not yet, but even if we could get him to, like, I don't know, like 150, I'd feel a lot better about it. All this stuff walking over, I kind of want to spook this roe deer anyway. Just get her out of here. Can we get something? That'll work. Gets the roe deer out of the way, the boar stay. Now we figure this out. So we've got him coming in. We had to kind of crawl out and around to get past those other boar. I don't know where they're at. Like, at some point, I'm sure they're going to be coming into this call too and, like, come up over that hill. That's probably doable. Yeah, there's one of those ones calling. So let's just see if we can get a brain shot here. And if we don't, we're firing as many rounds his direction as possible. He's going to keep coming a little bit closer. Might let him stop again just so we can really try to land that brain shot. Because if we miss it, I don't know, body shot with a 6.5, would that kill one? Maybe. Brain shot with a 6.5 though, guaranteed, and we are set. So I don't want to forget that fallow deer. Since we're working on harvest, the one time where I really care about making sure we claim a random doe that we shot. And kind of lucky this even worked. I think it was just double lung. It was indeed 48.5 meters, but it was just a hurry up, get a shot out, so we could figure out something to do about this boar. And now, not impressive tusks by any stretch, Definitely thought the left one was a little bit better. He does weigh 226 kilo, which is great. 1059, and I think that is largely due to the weight. Now what we can do is do a skull mount of him, so we will do that. Gonna add that to our trophy lodge somewhere, and we'll set up some kind of decent trophy photo. And you know, largely, I like to actually avoid shooting stuff in the head for trophy shots, but somehow with a wild boar, I think it actually adds to the photo. So a 1060 nearly, and another skull mount added to the trophy lodge. We'll take that, and it's in here in an old board drive setup that's probably been here for close to 10 years. And I love that that's a thing in this game. Like, I've got tree stands in real life that I've had up for 6, 8, 10 years. It's cool to have that kind of thing in this game as well, going past an old setup that's still producing from time to time. That's got potential to be a good pheasant, and I hate to shoot it on the ground because, I mean, you still get the score, you can still put it in the lodge, but it obviously wouldn't count for the leaderboards if that would be, say, a 29 plus. But we're approaching our goose setup, which we've waited pretty much 2 hours to go and do. So I think we're gonna try to just plink that on the ground, just because then we can get it from further away. Missed that by a little bit. Luckily, he just hunkered down. Guess we need to aim a little bit higher. Oh, that particular pack of ammo had a whole 2 rounds, so that really easily could have been spooking our pheasant and never finding out, but now that he's just there, he stood back up. Figured out eventually. There we go. Go and see what he is, and since we shot from so far away, any geese that are down there at the setup won't have heard that. And I'll tell you, as bad as that was, good information to know. We probably ought to get a little closer to any potential geese that are at the setup. As for this guy, 2.6 kilo going to be at 27, so no worries to shoot it on the ground. We'll just go ahead and head down here. And as I said, if we see any high estimates or rares, probably we're going to close the distance to at least 100. So this right here is a look at what can happen if you, if you wait a while and then come and check your goose setup. Now, trying to spot all these for a score estimate is going to be a thing. It's probably going to take forever. There's a chance some of them will fly away by the time we're done. But what I'm mainly looking for is any geese that stand out as just looking a little physically larger than the rest. A little tough when they're kind of floating like that, but that's what we're going to be doing for a minute because I don't see any rares. So I think I've spotted them all. That's getting a little ridiculous how tall that one's getting up there. I don't see any that go up to, 8 kilo or north of that. There was one somewhere in here that went to like 7,500, might be that guy right there. Now the real question is, if we swap from the spotting scope to the 22, can we actually still identify that particular bird? Nope. I have no idea which one it is. Gonna try that again, maybe try to identify something to see which one we're looking at. Is it the one facing away? Or all the way in the back? No, it's neither of those. Alright, I'm at least fairly sure it's this one. So we're gonna try this. Gonna aim plenty high. And just since there's so many geese, one just went down there. Get whatever else we maybe can as they fly along. I mean, there's no way to identify what we're shooting at. This is just gonna be a thing. I mean, plenty of geese harvest coming up though. Not bad. Maybe try to get one more since it's flying straight away. Shouldn't be terribly difficult. And honestly, we might just call that good because the rest are getting pretty far. And at this point, I don't even know how many we killed. I'm not sure when we fired into the flock taking off if we killed any. Hopefully we clipped one somewhere there. It looks like we must have. In fact, actually 3 laying here. So this one is going to be 4.9 kilos, so a pretty small one. That's 48.92. These 2 over here, one of them should be decent, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean we actually shot the right bird. I think we did. We will soon find out. That 7.2 kilo, probably the one. It does say crowded, so that was it. 71.79 is decent, but we're looking for 8,000 plus for a trophy goose. Really, even at this stage with our lodge, probably 8,500 plus. 59 for that, and I think there's at least 2 more back here. Maybe 3 more, because this one's in the same field. 5,100-ish for that, going to be 50-55. And I just looked at our hunt stats. We're at 91 animals spotted. The vast majority of those are geese, and I'm curious how many were actually sitting right there. There have been a couple of geese throughout the hunt that I've spotted elsewhere, but assuming the hunt stats will load, I'll put that on screen somewhere, just how many geese we spotted, and I would say 95% of them were right there in that flock. But 2 more here, 6.7 kilos, so that one's decent. 6.667. And then what I think is going to be our final goose. Now there's even another one out there yet. Another 6.7 kilo. 6.663, very close on those two. And now finally this one, going to be a 6.2 kilo. Bunch of nice ones at the end there as they flew off. 6.242 on that. Just to look, we killed 7 geese if I'm reading that right. Not too bad, all things considered. So here's what I want to do to wrap up the hunt. We haven't been down here at all. We're going to fast travel. I hate to use all the camping supplies, but I think we'll go to this tent. See if anything's around. Do I want to call a wild boar? They take forever. We might ignore that. Just gotta head down to the fields, and we'll make kind of a loop back up around the lodge to place, speaking of wild boar, our boar skull. So we've got 2 different stags coming in down here. This one, though, I think he's spooked and just happens to be in the area. So at 40 meters, and the rain's coming on, so maybe we try to do this quickly. I don't know how quick the wind picks up, but not really the time to check it. That worked. That stag's still hanging out there. And we'll just go 6.5 one more time. That was probably a little low. That'll make sure he goes down. And trying to back out of the game. Obviously this is in multiplayer, as we've been doing for years. I can't get the game management thing to work, and there have been server issues with Classic, really going back to like the Summer Fiesta or so. So anyway, we're gonna have to restart, make a single player game to go and place that boar skull. And that, I think, with these 2 RedneckJay kills, is exactly what we're going to do. Just to see... Oh, we did get a lung anyway on that first shot, so whatever we hit on the follow-up, which would have been left hind leg and intestine, didn't do a lot, just helped to bring him down immediately from there. And now we'll hop to single player and go place our boar skull. So we've got a place, actually kind of a nice spot for that to sit. Looks pretty darn good, obviously 1059 score. And the only negative is the bullet hole that shows up in the skull. For some reason it's showing on the side, even though we pretty much shot him straight on, like right between the eyes. So shows up a little bit incorrectly, but it kind of from the front looks better without the bullet hole anyway, so not going to complain about that too much. And man, it's been a while since we've actually entered this lodge. I just love it in here. It is so cool, and it's nice to be adding stuff to it again. Got that fallow deer back there at 171. Maybe a future Hirschfelden hunt we can replace that with a better one. But there's just so much space for so much stuff in here, and there's years and years of memories in here. Talking about like the, tree stands that have been up for like 10 years there for our boar drive setup. One of the things I absolutely love about this Texas lodge. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.